pro-democracy activist living in the UK. It comes after Chinese authorities issued an almost £100,000 bounty for his arrest, along with 7 other exiled activists. To gain more insight into this, I was joined by Mark Sabah, Director for the UK and the EU for the Committee for Freedom in Hong Kong Foundation. So hi Mark, it's great to speak with you. Hong Kong activist Nathan Law's brother and parents were taken away for questioning in Hong Kong. Tell me what we know so far.
Well, we heard yesterday morning that his family was called in for questioning in Hong Kong. We haven't had that verified independently, but it's been reported in multiple outlets. And if it is the case, it's a really upsetting and shocking escalation in the way that the Hong Kong authorities are treating dissidents or pro-democracy activists who have left Hong Kong.
How common is it for the Chinese Communist Party to use this kind of tactic?
Well, on mainland China, it's very common. It's common in North Korea, for example. It's certainly common in mainland China. But essentially what it shows is that mainland China is now in Hong Kong, and that the one country, two systems policy that's been in place for the last 25 years is completely and utterly dead.
The UK has previously called out China for breaking the Sino-British Joint Declaration, which had the promise of the one country, two systems, where Hong Kong was meant to continue to have certain freedoms. So can you tell me more about what that means?
Well, it means that it's the end of the one country, two systems policy, and it means that the Sino-British Declaration has been torn up and then torn up again and then trampled on and then stamped on and then torn up again. I mean, the Hong Kong authorities are clearly purely working at the behest of the Beijing government. They don't follow the basic law and the laws of Hong Kong. They're constantly changing and twisting and turning them around to persecute and prosecute people who expose their behavior and expose the mission creep of Beijing into Hong Kong.
So with this in mind, will the Chinese Communist Party last for, say, another decade, in your view?
I mean, who would want to predict how long the Chinese Communist Party is going to survive? I think that in order to survive for the next 70 years, as they have done, repression is going to have to increase in mainland China. They can't liberate economically without allowing people a view on the world. And the more China opens itself up to international trade and business, the more students go abroad, the more foreigners come and invest, the more that Chinese people will see that there is another way of living out there, and that there is no specific obligation upon China to control media and to control freedom of speech and to control freedom of movement. So it'll be increasingly hard to maintain the CCP's total authority without becoming even more brutal on civil liberties.
So to help Nathan Law's family in Hong Kong, what should the UK government do now?
Well, I think the first thing the government should do is grant Nathan Law immediate British citizenship, not just him, but also the other Hong Kongers who are being pursued by the Hong Kong authorities with bounties and arrest warrants. The other thing is the British government should immediately call in the Chinese ambassador for a full explanation about why they are pursuing the family members of somebody who no longer lives in Hong Kong, and causing that level of distress to somebody who is supposed to be safe on UK borders. The other thing is this is the right time for the British government to demand that any British judges still drawing a salary from the Hong Kong authorities in Hong Kong to immediately resign their positions, and to say that it's absolutely unacceptable that British judges should be sitting in Hong Kong courts.
Well, Mark Sabah, thank you very much for coming on. I appreciate it.
Thank you.